All right, guys. So this is my review on Reborn Rich. Normally I would use my screen share on my computer to introduce the actors and try to pronounce their name as much as possible. I have a very hard time pronouncing Korean names. I will get better at it, but my computer is not working. I just uploaded a review on my review 2 on Knives Out 2. I did the second one because I ended up discussing Reborn Rich. There's a little bit of a plot in there that I thought was amazing, which helped me prove my point on why I gave Knives Out 2 a 6 rating. Story and everything overall was fine, but the mystery itself was not good at all. I wasn't impressed by the mystery itself, and I used Reborn Rich. I think up to episode 11, the car accident. Spoiler alert: car accident occurred. Episode 11 as a trope to prove my point on the mystery and how a good mystery should be done. So let's talk about Reborn Rich. Reborn Rich is freaking awesome. It was good. I greatly enjoyed it. I love shows like Succession, Revenge. You got Reincarnation. You got good acting. Oh man, and then I love strategic stories too. So it had everything that I love in stories all up in one. So the Reincarnation, the revenge story, the strategic story similar to My Glory, it was good. And then you had money and Succession and stocks and stuff. Man, it was wonderful. So let's talk about the acting skills. I'm just gonna be mentioning everybody not by their names. I don't have their names in front of me, and I couldn't remember it even if I wanted to. So we're going to say the chairman. We have the youngest grandson, which is the main protagonist. We have the oldest grandson, and then we have the chairman's 3 children, the firstborn, secondborn, and the daughter. I think they are the main people, actors in this, supporting it. We will talk about the protagonist's love interest, the prosecutor, a little bit. I feel a little gypped in that story point. So first, acting was superb. Like I said, in a lot of Korean shows, the acting, the characters they decide, the actors they decide to get for these characters to be spot on, and this is no less. Acting 10 out of 10. I can't even deny it. I was so enthralled in this. It was good. Now let's talk about the main protagonist. So the main protagonist, I feel like this actor is almost playing the same type of actor. You know, like hear me out. I watched him in, what's it called? Vince Demo. I haven't finished it. It's like 20 episodes. I think I'm only on episode 8. Vince Demo. It's the one when he's an Italian prosecutor, and he just has this cool, laid-back personality. Then he was in Descendants. Is it Descendants of the Sun? If I remember correctly, I haven't seen that in a very long time, and I think I still got halfway through that as well. He was a cool, laid-back person in that. Then there was a movie on Netflix, the space movie. It's a little different. He was a little bit of a different character, but he was still laid back in that. He plays like this cool, laid back character. So, of course, he's good at it. That's why he gets a 10 out of 10 for this character. This character was smart and cool. Or he's playing suave, usually. I want him to play an intense, dark character. Okay, same thing like I say for Will Smith. Will Smith has not played a very intense, dark, gritty, violent, mean character. I would love to see Will Smith in a gangster film against Denzel Washington. I've been saying that for years. I think we will get it since the slap with Will Smith, and he has to bring down his brand, but that is something I would want to see. And if we can throw in Leonardo DiCaprio in there, what? Okay. Had a movie in my head with all these people in it. I had to let it go. It's gonna be a minute until I can accomplish that goal. But back to Reborn Rich, I would like to see him play more of a darker character. If you guys have a film that he's played like a bad guy or dark in, please send it to me. I haven't seen it. Most of them that I've like breezed through, most of that I breezed through Viki and Netflix seem to be about the same. So everybody else was good. So let's talk about the story point on Reborn Rich. I will give you a brief account of the plot for those who don't know. I'm not going to go all in depth like I did for my unfamiliar family. You should just go check it out. It's that good. So Reborn Rich, basically you have this chairman who is this grandfather chairman who created and built this company from the ground up. It's one of the leading companies in Korea. He has 3 children, and the way that he traditionally does succession is the firstborn son and the firstborn and his son will get the company, and it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter if they can handle the company or not. The youngest grandson proved to everybody that he is more than capable of taking that company, leading it, and carrying it to beyond. So the grandfather decides, spoiler point in episode 10, to change things up. And it says whoever earns the right to lead the company will lead the company. He's letting it go. So you have the succession war backwards and forth. Now the other science fiction part of it is, in the beginning of the story, you have this employee for the same company. He's kind of like the fixer for this company. He was very smart, but because of tragedy in his family, he didn't get a chance to go to college. He's a high school grad. He ends up working for this company. We don't find out until the very end why he ends up being who he is in this company, but people make fun of him because other employees make fun of him because he is just a high school employee, but he fixes things for the family, like everything. He does toilets, he fixes situations, he makes sure certain executives show up for a press meeting. He does everything. And I say he's number 2 fixer. There's another older fixer that's been with the company for 20 plus years. So he ends up finding this documentation because the prosecutor that I mentioned earlier is trying to take down the company. We don't know why she's trying to take down the company. They call her the Grim Reaper of the company. She dresses all black. She's just done with the company. She just wants to take them down. So in the process of a cease and desist, was a search and desist, he ends up finding the documents that could hurt the company, basically some embezzlement. He takes it to the oldest grandson. We don't see the youngest grandson at this point, but he takes it to the oldest grandson. The oldest grandson sees the document, says, hey, he fires, does he fire? Yeah, I think he fires the older fixer that's been with the company for 20 years. He's like, where did this come from? He tells this young gentleman to go to this country, get the money, and bring it back to me. It's basically a sludge fund where somebody kind of is just, not kind of, but they're ripping money off of the company into a separate fund. And he finds documentation of that during the search and seize. So when he goes, gets it, he ends up getting, so when he goes to the other company to go get the money, he ends up getting ambushed and then killed. When he is killed, he is then reborn into the youngest grandson, and he gets to meet the chairman in person. In present time, the chairman had died 10 to 20 years prior, and the chairman's oldest son is running the company. So, as you can see, a lot of things unfold. a lot of things unfold. You got two different timelines going on, not at the same time. Once he at the end of the first episode, he is reborn back into the second, reborn back into the youngest grandson. And what unfolds, well, not what unfolds, but what ends up happening is all the way from episode 1 to episode, I want to say 14 or 15, we are watching the youngest grandson ascend the company. And that's pretty much about it. That's what goes down from the majority. So basically from episode 2 all the way up to episode 15, that is what is occurring. And it's very good. I think the main part of the story is the youngest grandson building his own brand. Oh, when he's reborn, this is very important. So when he's reborn into the youngest grandson's body, he also has his future memory. And this is where the story gets interesting. Because he was reincarnated, he has future knowledge. And with the future knowledge, he's able to make good investment choices. He's able to basically predict when the stock market is going to crash, when certain events are going to happen, and he uses that to leverage himself up to make more money, as well as take down the chairman's children who own stock into the company. And he ends up using that method, his future knowledge, to take pieces of percentage of their companies, which is very, very, very good. I love that part of it, and I love that science fiction part of it, because it's not only as you can have knowledge about something, but you have to be able to leverage that knowledge to propel you forward, to create opportunities for yourself. Not only did he use it to make money, but he also used it to take down his rivals at the same time. And he was smart enough to be able to do that. Okay, and I love that. Now that I gave you the plot, let's talk about spoilers. So this is spoilers alert. Go watch it if you have not seen it. So let's continue with the future plot points. One of the things that we end up finding out is why the prosecutor was the Grim Reaper of the company. Turns out that she was dating the youngest grandson. She knew him in school, law school, everything, and he was killed in a car accident. This is why the protagonist who gets killed and placed in his body as a reincarnation doesn't remember him. He's the butler, the fixer for the company, but he doesn't remember the youngest grandson because the youngest grandson died. Okay? Died. So she's coming after the company. She's been coming after the company for 20 years, trying to find anything to tear down this company. She won't even move up as a prosecutor because she wants revenge. So not only does he wants revenge, for being killed in the beginning of the story and reincarnated into the youngest grandson's body, but also this prosecutor has been wanting revenge for 20 years. So we get that backstory on her now. Another couple of plot points, we get to see how the chairman act with his children. I could tell he was brutal. He didn't trust anybody. He didn't trust his kids. And it showed. He played that role very well. I forget that he's a lot younger. He was only in his 50s. He was playing like 60s and 70s or 70s and 80s. And the actor did a very good job playing the chairman. Phenomenal. So, and we get to see this relationship with his youngest grandson. The youngest grandson basically was like a fortune teller. He made good decisions. Now, here's the little thing that I don't understand that I was talking about earlier is the youngest grandson, did he have future knowledge? Because the protagonist who died in the beginning, who got reincarnated in him, and the youngest grandson, they were living around the same time, right? They're living around the same time. So it's like, wait a minute. Did he make all these moves? It turns out everything that the youngest grandson did was true. He ended up doing it. So it's like, okay, if he was reincarnated in his body and he took advantage of the future knowledge, did he, what happened? Did he die and live another life, then get resuscitated and saved by the prosecutor in the end to come back and finish his life? We don't know. We don't know what happened. like they leave that as a plot point. So we never find out if the youngest grandson, let me move over here from these birds, if the youngest grandson really was just smart. Well, you know what? Now that I think about it, he did. That's what they did. Okay, so that's how they did it. I got it. So he did throughout when he had future knowledge, and in order for him to not be a suspect of somebody who was a goblin, his business partner mentioned it, to not be a suspect of a goblin or just knowing the future, he will point out real scenarios which led him to his decision making. I think that's what the writers did. Now that I think about it, that makes sense. So the writers actually put in the story how the youngest grandson was being so successful with all these moves. To us, we just see this guy being reincarnated, and he knows the future. He knows about 9/11. He knows about the World Cup going to Korea. He knows about different things, so that's why he's successful. But through dialogue, he has to explain how he was able to figure out these things as if he knew what would happen. Everybody can say, it's like he knows what's going to happen. The youngest grandson was just that smart. That's what it is. I think that's what it is. So I just figured that out just now. I'm sorry. Okay. It's not a plot point. I think that's how they explained it. And that is very good writing. I'm sorry. That is very good writing. Again, it just slips right in. I didn't even think about it until now. Oh, that is good. Very, very good. I got to figure out who this writer is. So there's that plot point. Then we figure out in the beginning of the story, these birds are following me or something. Then we figure out that the oldest grandson in the beginning of the episode 1, he was yelling at his father, causing his father to have a heart attack, saying, I know about the car accident. I know about the car accident, and you disappoint me. So this would led the motive, because we don't know what car accident. Spoiler alert, the youngest grandson died. Once he finally got control of the company, he was killed. He was killed at the end in another car accident. Very good writing. So in the beginning of the episode, he mentions a car accident. We don't know which car accident they're talking about in episode 1, right? So by episode 11, the youngest grandson and the chairman get in a car accident, which kills we think kills the chairman. I gotta rewatch that. We think it kills the chairman. Okay. So when I'm watching this up until episode 11, I was thinking that the oldest son, which is why he had the main motive, was the person who caused that accident. Even when I found out it was the wife, the chairman's wife, that caused the accident, it didn't dawn on me. Very good writing. It didn't even dawn on me that occurred. I'm thinking, okay, the future has now been changed, right? He's going to marry the prosecutor. The future has now been changed. Nope. At the very end, he gets into the car accident and he dies. And this is how he dies. So the youngest grandson dies at the end because there's a truck blocking the road. And for some odd reason, him and his driver don't go around. He says, just wait. And a freaking, not a diesel, but a delivery truck crashes into them, killing the youngest grandson, but the driver is still alive. And the person whose truck was parked in the middle of the road that they were waiting for turns out to be the other protagonist who died off the cliff, who was the fixer for the company. I'm gonna call him the fixer. The fixer for the company, that was him. And this is how he got up. This is how he became the fixer for the company. Before this, he was just a regular employee. He wasn't a business employee. He was a regular employee. He had a uniform on. The old fixer, who's been with the company for 20 years, told him he had a delivery. He's sitting here like, wait, I don't see anybody. Nobody's here. Like, what you want me to do? Second grandson dies. He freaks out. He's freaking out. Oh my goodness, somebody dies. The old fixer that's been with the company for 20 years gives him a proposition. He said, you're just a high school. You ain't got nothing. You either take this position and let me help you move up in this company, or you go to the police. He decides to go up into the company, become the next fixer for the company. And he has his own issues with his family, his father not working, stuff like that. It's crazy. It literally is crazy. I'm like, whoa, okay. Now the same actor is playing both the fixer, younger fixer, and the youngest grandson. He's playing both people. I was thinking that when we see the flashback of the fixer causing the accident, that he will get to see what the youngest grandson really looked like. Nope, it was the same actor. So that's why it led me to believe, like, okay, what's going on? Is it like who's the cause? Like what did the youngest grandson look like? I don't know. I'm thinking maybe no, he wasn't reincarnated because he didn't die. Let's also put that out there. So the fixer didn't die. So when he got shot and thrown into the ocean, the prosecutor, Grim Reaper, actually trailed him to the country and ended up saving him. He has all knowledge and memory of both lives at this point. He understands why she's so upset, and they kind of leave it open for maybe there's a possible relationship there, which leads me to my next point that I am not liking. Okay, so the romance of this series, it was there, but it wasn't there. It was there with the youngest grandson and the prosecutor 20 years ago, but I felt like the fixer knew enough about her with the memories that he could be a potential future for her. Because once the case was solved of how the youngest grandson died, all the family had to lose their management rights and everything. It could be, I don't know, they could have been something there between them, it could have been something there. They kind of leave it off like it could be. They kind of gave it a hint. He ended up replaying how the fixer ended up replaying how the youngest grandson and the prosecutor went on their first date to her. He ended up saying the same things. It was kind of like a little hint, like maybe something's there. She goes to look for him, and then the show goes off. I just kind of felt like it could have been there. I always say Korean shows have this thing about episode 13. They add in this crazy plot point and they try to wrap everything up in they come in this secondary plot point that comes out of nowhere sometimes and they don't really mean anything to the plot. And then from episode 13 to episode 15, they finish it up. And then they leave episode 16 just wrapping everything up and never really giving you a conclusive ending to everything. They just won't let people be together. Like, they're actually together. They always leave it open-ended, like there's a possibility or something. It's just something crazy that drives me crazy. Sometimes just give me a conclusive ending. Did she end up getting with him or not? That's all I want. But the fixer ends up working for the same company that the youngest grandson ended up building, which was Miracle Investments. He ends up getting the business partner to come back. He ends up convincing the business partner to start up the company again, get involved. So the fixer's doing good. Him and his family is doing phenomenal now. The company tried to pin the murder a murder on him, embezzlement on him. They tried to do a lot of stuff. He ends up going on top. He ends up getting his revenge. It was good. I feel mostly bad for the oldest grandson. He found out that his father is the one that killed. We found out that his father, the oldest son, ended up killing the youngest grandson. He was the one, that was the car crash that he was talking about. He wasn't talking about a car crash where the chairman died, the grandfather died. I also realized while talking about this that we don't know, I don't think we know how he died. I don't think they ever said how their grandfather died. From episode 1, they just said he passed away. I don't think we know how he died. I don't know if he died from the car accident or the way he died. I forgot how he died. I think he died in his sleep, or he died from a heart attack. I don't think they ever really said. And I think they left it open like that, so we couldn't figure out what car accident they were talking about. That the oldest, the chairman's oldest son was the caused. But that's it. I'm not gonna go and replay on everything. I do talk about the first car accident as a mystery, like being a really, really good mystery with good motives and good suspects. In my Knives Out 2 review, part 2 review, I use that as a this is how a mystery should be done. But all in all, it's a very good series. You guys should definitely check it out. I love it. I'll do my best to try to get pictures of these people, but I do go backwards and forth between oldest, youngest, grandson, and stuff like that. So just watch it out for yourself. I do apologize. I'm getting better and better at this every day. So World Strong reviews, like, subscribe, share, and appreciate it. Talk to you guys later. Bye.